Welcome back to the Talk Shop in Studio 255. I'm Eric Henderson with Tom Mattimore, this morning's guest on the program in Studio 255 at the Laramie Plains Civic Center. This show brought to you in part by Chano's Village, the Benton Rusty, and I-80 Towing and Automotive Services, along with Deviant Piercing and Tattoo. Tom, good morning. Welcome back. We were just talking about the comprehensive plan and how its restrictions and expansions, they're impeding growth in Laramie, where they're actually designed to be the cutting edge. They're not serving that purpose. But you mentioned importantly last segment. Why are we not catering UDC, the Universal Development Code, to our community? And you said,
because it's too much work.
It's too much work, right?
And it's difficult to do without experiential analysis. You have to analyze what is actually happening in your city, and that's why I think it's incumbent on everybody in Laramie to go to this Forge Laramie website and look at what the Universal Code is saying. I mean, and also to see what the comprehensive plan, what direction it's going. It's going to be a year-long process.
December 16th, 2025, the city of Laramie brought about Todd Feeser with a promotion to city manager from assistant city manager. Will that provide, in your opinion, new direction for our city that will open up these horizons?
Yes. Todd, I think, is maybe a new beginning for Laramie. I think we're looking, he's open-minded, he's looking at things in different directions. He definitely wants more public interface. One of the biggest problems in Laramie is government may be a pain in the neck, and everybody complains about transparency, but the population is apathetic. They just don't pay attention to what's going on. Go to the city website, sign up for the notices. You don't have to go to all these meetings, but you should look at the agendas and see what the city government is talking about, what they want to do. And if something irks you or chaps your hide, it's incumbent on you to go to the city and complain about it. You know, that's your duty as a citizen.
You got to keep your finger on what's going on. You got to pay attention. We do a focused job here at the Talk Shop, me, myself, and I, to follow city affairs, to follow county commission affairs. And just yesterday, I was traveling the city and found conversation on the location of Snowy Range Road and Pierce Street.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see at that street, formerly First Interstate Bank on one corner, the McCarty Honda was at one point going to open auto dealership location at the Caddy Corner property.
Yep.
And then there's a concrete pad that was started at this corner many years ago. Now I understand it may have been the Ramza family that were initiating to put a coffee shop there many years ago. And obviously in 2026 that coffee shop didn't happen. Now I don't know the reasoning for it, but why do you pour a pad if you don't have a green light to finish what you're doing and you don't have the plan there? It's something that I have to do. I actually thought, given your experience in town, perhaps you might remember that proposal for that property in that regard. And
it's a dim memory. As I get older, my memory gets a little dimmer. But I do know they started it, and all of a sudden, the project stopped. And that's happened before. I've seen that happen in other cities.
I've seen it on Pine Street. I've seen
Yep.
infill that was started, infill approvals. They sought variance from B2 to a change that would have allowed 83 density in this small west side property location, and they moved dirt fast, and they poured foundations, and it sits unfenced with 36 to 40 inch drop offs off the interior to the interior of the property. That's if you have an 18-inch or higher deck on your house, you have to have guardrails. There's no fencing. There's no safety implementation on this property at 260 North Pine Street. This is the location I'm talking about.
Well,
There's a lot of implementation that happens and doesn't happen. I think the same property is being considered for a waiver of their development fees, the applications and so forth that are due to the city to proceed with building.
those fees can be substantial, but I don't know if the city can afford to waive them or has any desire to waive them.
How can we, with $138 million that we need for surface water management program, how can we not look at 289,000 landscaping changes? I mean, this is cosmetic. How can we not look at these things and say, not right now, we've got infrastructure to really pay attention to?
Well, that's the trouble with Division 15 of the Municipal Code. You're required to do this stuff. And the planning department's stuck. They can't change the code. It takes elected officials change the code. So,
now, I've not seen the city planning department or city staff make any suggestion to council that they didn't take. I mean, we're in the 90 percentile of council adopting everything, 90% plus of what is presented to them by city staff. City staff are considered experts, and the going experts, and rightly so. I don't dispute that. But one thing, there's a commonsensical consideration that doesn't get done. Why are we not catering Universal Development Code to Laramie itself? And you said very aptly, takes too much work.
Well, you got to change. In order to change the code, you have to have analysis. You have to have staff reports. You have to take it before commissions, and then you have to take it to city council for 3 readings. It's not flexible.
Which is a perfect argument from my standpoint to not adopt the UDC. Well, always going forward. You can make administrative paper change too fast for your community to even catch up.
To catch up. What I'm looking at, you have to understand my perspective. I grew up in New York City, and I left in 1968, but I lived in the Bronx, and what happened to the Bronx should be a required course for anybody who goes to college and takes a planning, right? You had rigid, inflexible city codes. You had rent control. You had everything going against an owner of a property. What happened was it got to the point where the owners of these apartment buildings could no longer make money, and they literally filed Chapter 11 and walked away. And eventually, they all burned. New York City lost 500,000 residences because of that in the late 60s, 70s. By 78, the Bronx looked like it'd been shelled and was a war zone because there was nothing left standing. You had the occasional building that was still standing that was home to drug dealers and gangsters, but that was about it. My brother was a policeman, and my other brother was a teacher in an elementary school, just retired, and half the student population disappeared because there was no place for them to live. So they ended up rebuilding a lot of stuff in the 90s, and so the population came back. But it's the kind of thing that too much government and people will walk away.
In Laramie, Wyoming, if we move forward with what's now a trial of waiver of fees to the city and so forth until the point directly, I guess, directly preceding occupancy permit being granted, all those fees have to be paid then.
A lot of times those fees have to be paid before you get the final plat approval.
Right.
When you go in with your final plat approval and it gets approved, at that point you have to pay the in lieu of park fees.
Well, what happens if that company doesn't have the financial strength to go all the way through the building process? We end up with holes in the ground, foundations built with no development actually existing 5 years after it started, and we're sitting there. Does the city say that company goes out of business? They file bankruptcy. Will the city get those fees from whomever picks it up, and there will be like a lien against that property? Or what, how would that be? Has discussion been had on that topic? Because it seems like we're going forward with a lot of positive thinking that doesn't include all of the possibilities that could face.
You could potentially end up with something like the old Fox Theater.
Downtown.
The old Fox Theater downtown.
Formerly the Empress, next to the Cowboy Saloon and Dance Hall, or they're close between Jeffries and there. Okay.
Yeah, where the food co-op is now.
Right.
All right. That property was vacant, falling down. It was
very fond with pigeons.
Yeah, we had to literally move millions of pigeons out of there to tear the place down. A lot of them all moved up to the city hall for a while. But, it's the kind of thing that I think we really need to analyze based on what is happening in the town. You need to look at, your experiences, see what works, what doesn't, and then change your code. So you got to be more adaptable than what we are. I think the city staff, planning staff, we changed the size of lots. We changed, we changed a lot of requirements for developments, new development. We still require new developers. Almost all new developers are going to have to build stormwater, build it in, right? But I look at this, you put in a 200-unit or 50-unit apartment project, just a medium-sized apartment project, you still are going to have to pay that stormwater fee after you do everything to get the stormwater on your property under control. That's just the way it is. That's
cost of doing business, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the cost of doing business. But if you're going into business and you see that, it's different than if you've been here 50 years and all of a sudden you get hit with a $400 a month fee to get the water off your property. That's a whole different kettle of fish. You got to be adaptable. I know we need the money for stormwater. The stormwater system is not great. All right, it needs a lot of work. But a lot of that was previous neglect. 30, 40 years ago, they used the wrong pipe, but that may have been the only pipe they had 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Right. So beyond the comprehensive plan, where are you taking us this morning? Where's our next topic to discuss?
All right. What I would like to talk about is the election. We've got an election coming up this year. Yeah, in May on a 6-penny tax.
Very good. And specific purpose excise tax will be on the ballot.
And there's a lot of good stuff in that. I really think that Todd coming on board when he did helped change the direction of a lot of that.
Former assistant city manager Todd Fieser, now city manager.
And I think we've got some good projects on there for the city. The county does too. The trouble is, it's $100 million, so it's going to be a long time before that's paid up. Inflation has driven up the cost of building everything, and we may see a lot more before we're done with the projects. even at 3.5%, 4% inflation rate, if it takes you 10 years to build something, that's a lot of money adds up into the pie. I think one of the problems, well, it's good in some respects that they pulled the 6-penny tax off of the primary and general election, because that way people can focus on it and look at it. Most people don't pay any attention to that. They have no idea what's on it.
And a no vote or an absent vote is a no vote.
And if you don't
If
vote,
you don't
it's a
fill
no
it in
vote.
for or against, it's no.
It's a no,
Right.
and it doesn't count. So we need people to start showing up. But what we mostly need, and you could talk to the county clerk, and every politician in the city will tell you, we do not get people to vote on a local government. Local government is the one that gets in your pocket first. It's the one that you're most directly connected to. It's got the most influence on your life. But you go look at the undervotes on any election, primary or general election, and it's like a vast wasteland. I mean, they vote for the top 3 guys on the ticket, and then the rest of it just goes away. If you don't vote, if you don't pay attention, you get things you don't like. That's all there is to it. You've got to pay attention to what your city is doing. You've got to go out and understand the judge, the Board of Education, City Council, and you've got to look at those, even the Conservation District. Pay attention to who's running for those things, what they believe. Do they believe what you believe? And
One of the things I like about the specific purpose excise tax is, prior to moving forward with it, three governmental entities had to unite. They had to come together. Rock River, Albany County Commissioners, City of Laramie, and maybe, I don't know if Centennial was involved also, if there's an organized government leadership there in Centennial.
No, I think it was those three governments.
It struck me that 3 of them they had to come together and negotiate some future endeavors, and they had to really had to support one another. I thought it's the one time, county residents don't get to vote in city affairs, but this is an impactful direction for everybody, and it includes like $4 million in surface water management program monies.
Yes.
And many others. There's some recreation projects. There's a myriad, probably nine separate initiatives, and they're all specific. They all have to be delineated clearly, and it's what I love about the voters. That initiative being put to the voters, it hasn't been denied in Laramie.
No,
the voters, when shown clearly what the plan is and what is being tasked to government to do, the community has supported it.
Because they also know it's finite, and they get to vote on it.
And getting to vote on it is really confusing to me. The city council's resistance to putting the surface water management funding that utility adopted December 4th, 2024 to the public electorate, I don't understand the resistance to that, given the support of this overall. We could genuinely take a 7th penny and dedicate it exclusively to those projects that are delineated by the city and the drainage needs prioritized, if you will, and get going on it. I don't see that we're doing a May ballot. Why would we not put that on there? I think the county would have collaborated. I think they would have said.
I think it would have passed.
I think it would have. I think it would have went. It would have went past. And we seem to be high on our power of saying no. You voted for us. You voted for us 9 city council members, and overall, we're going to make the decision. That's what we were
I
elected
think
to do.
I think that came out of the fact that they used a consultant, they used guidance from WAM, Wyoming Association of Municipalities, and I think they tried to avoid doing an election out of fear that it wouldn't pass. I think if they had gone with what the focus group originally tried to come up with is you have to let the public know why you're doing this, what you're doing, and about what it costs. To just go without transparency, and they say, oh yeah, we heard it 3 times, everybody knew about it, city council. I think that it was an oversight on engineering's staff, and I also think on the council and city government, it was an oversight to not spend the time to educate the public. I got to give the planning department credit. They will go and host these public meetings. They will put up the little poster boards or put signs. They will stand there and answer your questions. We didn't have that with the stormwater. There was no real public meetings except for the focus group right at the beginning. And the general consensus of the focus group was, yeah, we need the money, but if you don't get the public behind this, it's not going to work. So if they had gotten the public behind it in the first place and looked at this fee structure,
and let's face it, taxing property owners to have a roof over your head is not supporting affordable housing. There's to me, it's disgusting that residents are being charged for their rooftops.
Well, to me, the biggest
impervious surfaces.
Yeah, to me, the biggest problem is the fee structure is it harms business. It puts the burden on business. If you want affordable housing, you got to have a place for these people to work. And if you keep taxing business and putting more and more restrictions on business, they're not going to come here.
Well, and if you years ago, I recall Laramie High School new location paid for by charging property owners. I think it was 16% increase in their taxes,
yep.
and that funded it. Now, who's not going to vote for something that doesn't affect them? More than half of the community are not property owners in Laramie, Wyoming. So instead of putting it on a sales tax that would have benefited everybody and been a user tax,
yep.
they ambushed property owners.
Well, that's because Board of Education is a taxing authority. People don't understand that. All right, they think, oh, the state collects the property tax. That goes through the state and the county. The smallest of the taxing authorities in American government is the Board of Education, because they get direct access to the tax money. They have significant contribution into how much you pay for taxes, what the mill levy is, and they get a big chunk of it. Now, state statute will say, okay, the education gets so much percentage of the mill levy, but when the state approves $122 million for a high school and then another $6 million to tear down the old one, right? And then $20 million for more teachers, and you got to say, well, who voted for that? Nobody voted for that. You voted for it when you elected the school board. It's like you voted for the state legislature. The state legislature, you voted for them, and they will tax you. You vote for the school board, and they will find ways to spend your tax money.
Interestingly enough, in 2022, 2024, none of those questions were asked. If presented with this initiative, would you be for or against that raising your taxes? And those questions didn't get asked. I'll make sure to ask them in 2026.
Yes.
the Candidate Awareness Tour 2026, one of the initiatives of the Talk Shop. And we're happy to invite all campaigning for office, all campaigning for the public's vote and support to represent. Now, as we've talked about the comprehensive plan, we've talked about the measure in regard to the election. What's required for folks to register for this election? Do they need to, if they voted in the last one, do they need to vote? Do they need to register ahead of time in this one in order to take part in this upcoming May election?
If you voted in the last election, presidential election, and you have not changed your address or changed your party affiliation, you don't have to do anything but show up and vote. If you change your party affiliation, you have to do it before May, because the law requires you can't change within so many days of an election. And since technically the special purpose tax is a non-partisan issue, you still can't change your vote, your registration before then. You'll have a brief period there. Otherwise, if you go and want to change your party affiliation, or if you want to change your address and wait until you go to vote, you're going to stand in a long line.
I understand as of yesterday, not only can your taxes be filed, January 26, 2026 marked the first day of government accepting tax returns. I contacted Albany County Assessor's Office, Chelsea Matthews, on the upcoming February 1st deadline for taking the property owner occupancy reduction of, I think, 25,
long-term property owner,
25%. And though as I understand it, that deadline for February 1st has been moved to March 1st.
I didn't hear
now,
that.
Now, I'm going to confirm that again this morning, but I want to alert everybody, get it done before the February 1st time period, right? If you have opportunity to save anything on your property taxes, by all means,
take advantage of it.
Please take advantage of it and get yourself to 525 Grand Avenue, the Albany County Courthouse building, and make your way to second floor and get it done. And you can do it online also at albanycounty.gov. You get it, albanycountywy.gov, and you can get that application submitted. Get it done. Get it behind you.
And if you go to the assessor's office, those people are really
so
helpful.
Friendly, so helpful, and save doing it for you. They'll do it with you, and they'll tell you all the steps.
So that's why you have to pay attention to what your government is doing. So if you don't pay attention, you don't hear about the good things. You don't just stop them from doing bad things or listen to what they're doing bad, but when government does something right, you got to pay attention to that too.
I've heard it said that Laramie's negative, or I am even negative. What say you with respect to negativity in a community? Is it really negativity, or is it something else?
I think it's what it is. I think most government does not spend enough time, which does not realize that to most people, the government is a business, right? If you want to sell a product, you got to talk to people. You've got to be out in front of them. You got to advertise. Persuade them.
Educate.
Right. And that's what the biggest problem with the stormwater drainage fee was. They did not do the groundwork. Like I will laud the planning department. They stick their necks out every time they come up with something big like this on the URA, with the Geist Brothers property. Everything they do, they will hold. And now they're trying to do a URA on that property off of Snowy Range Road. They will hold public meetings. And the only people who ever come to those damn things are people who are mad, right? Or the West Side. West Laramie shows up at everything. They're the most involved people in the city, I think. Most of the rest of the time, these people just ignore it. I mean, but government will do some good things. Paving Wyoming Avenue from Pierce to the highway there, was a great thing. That's going to open up a lot of West Laramie to new development. And it's
For many decades, West Laramie has been ignored. They've been prioritized much farther down.
well, there's
in
a
the
lot of people in
priorities.
West Laramie that want to be ignored.
Could be.
Yeah, there's a few people out there.
But
that
I've also seen property development required to do road base and leveling and all kinds of preparation for paved road, and the city not prepared to move forward, the state not prepared to move forward, and Snowy Range Car Wash and Laundry was a perfect example.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in road base and prep adjacent to their development there at Snowy Range, and well, I don't know what that side road is, but it goes down to the
130.
school.
Yeah.
And that was prepped for the adjacency to their building on the west side, and it's eroded. It never got done. Didn't get, so it was wasted. We didn't put that money in trust. We didn't put that money into an account that would be there when it was actually ready to be moved forward on. We wasted it.
Yeah, a lot of the city did the one block off of Snowy Range, paving on a lot on the west side. That's one they didn't do. I don't know if it was out of the zone or what the problem was, but they didn't do that one.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to pay attention. You got to find out what they're going to do. It's not that hard to go look and see what they're doing. It's the citizen's duty, I think, in a republic to watch the government, pay attention. You don't have to go to the meetings. You don't have to write letters, but by God, at least understand what they're doing. Right?
Tom Mattimore, my guest this morning on the Talk Shop. We'll be back with our third and final segment after this. This segment brought to you by Pole Mountain Pharmacy, dedicated to the health and wellness of Southeast Wyoming from their location at 4th and Harney.